Welcome to Powerful Women Rising, a podcast for female entrepreneurs ready to do business their way. Grab your coffee and join host Melissa Snow, business relationship strategist and founder of the Powerful Women Rising community, as she interviews industry experts and shares insights on strategy, marketing, mindset, and more. Here, you'll find the tools, strategies, and inspiration you need to feel empowered, take bold action in your business, and keep rising.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Powerful Women Rising podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Snow. Happy New Year, everybody. It is 2026, if you can believe that. It's so crazy. I took a little hiatus from the podcast in case you haven't noticed. Side note, if you ever decide to start a podcast, I highly recommend having seasons in your podcast because when you're switching from season 1 to season 2, it's like a built-in time to take a hiatus, and you're going to want to have that time built in. So I didn't really plan it out and I didn't really build that time in. I just stopped recording podcast episodes. So how's that for consistency and professionalism and perfectionism? Anyway, the holidays were a great time and I was trying really hard to intentionally relax and take time off and be present and not be that person that's like half relaxing and half feeling guilty about relaxing. So I think I did a pretty good job, but also have had a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes here at Powerful Women Rising. One of the things is that we are launching the new Powerful Women Rising Connection Network, which I am super excited about. If you've ever been to our virtual speed networking events, this is that, but even better. So instead of just these one-off events where you meet people for a short amount of time and either you have to put in a lot of effort to follow up with them or grow that relationship, this is an annual membership where we come together 2 times a month. Well, you have 2 options a month. You can come to both or one or whatever works for you and do some really intentional speed networking with the same people over and over again. So there's always going to be new people joining the Connection Network, but you're also going to get to see the same people consistently. And that really is how you build that familiarity, that know, like, and trust factor, and how you remain top of mind with the people in your network so that when they are out in the world networking with other people, they remember you and they mention you and they say your name in rooms that you're not in and they refer you. And that is how networking works. So I'm super excited about it because I think that people have gotten some really amazing results from the virtual speed networking events. And I think this new structure is going to just like 100 times those results. So if you want to know more, you can click on the link in the show notes. I am currently doing a wait list. So everybody who's on the wait list is going to have early access to join at founding member pricing, which is going to be a significant discount from regular pricing. But I only have a certain number of founding member spots available. So if you want to make sure that you lock one of those in, make sure that you sign up for the wait list. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me. And let's get on with today's episode. So today I am joined by Ivana Ivanek. She is a keynote speaker, a mindset coach, a business strategist, a branding expert, a visibility strategist. She does all the things. And she also hosts a really awesome podcast called Online Business by Design. She helps coaches, teachers, and educators build an online business that makes money and impact. I knew that I wanted to have Ivana on the show after I listened to a couple of her podcast episodes because she is very much in alignment with me when it comes to visibility strategies, getting yourself out there, getting yourself known, and how to do that in a way that doesn't require you to be the loudest person in the room. It doesn't require you to be the biggest energy in the room. It doesn't require you to be perfect or have a polished pitch or perform in some way. She really helps you figure out how to dig into your own strengths, your own values, your own story to create a personal brand that resonates with you and then shows you how to use that personal brand to grow your business. I am super excited to share this episode with you because I think it's going to give you a lot of things to think about. I think it's going to help you look at personal branding in a different way and think about the way that you are showing up, whether that is in person, on social media, in your emails, whatever it is. And she's going to give you some actionable tips that you can put into practice right away to help you make some shifts in how you are branding yourself. So without further ado, here is my interview with Ivana Ivanek.
Melissa, I'm so stoked to be here. It has been a while since we connected, and everybody who doesn't know about podcasting, there's quite a work behind the scenes to get together, but we finally made it, and I just can't wait to have this conversation with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you too. I know time zones, no matter how long I've been doing this, are still so confusing and still never cease to mess everything up. So I'm glad we both got here the same time, same day, and I'm excited to talk to you. So before we dive into the conversation, tell everybody just a little bit about you and about what you do.
Yeah, so my name is Ivana Ivanek. I'm the founder of Fabulous Foundation, personal brand strategist, mindset coach, and the host of the Online Business by Design podcast. I help female founders stand out in saturated markets through personal branding so they can make money and impact.
Yeah, that's great. I'm excited for this conversation. I love talking to people who have the kind of background and experience and knowledge that you do, because I think there's so many of us who go into business because we're so excited to do the thing that we want to do, right? Like we're so excited to make our cupcakes or be a life coach or sell whatever our product is. And we're not really excited about all of the business stuff, but we don't even really realize like how much there is that we don't know, right? We just think we're going to show up with our cupcakes and everyone's going to buy them and it's going to be great. And so I love talking to people like you who have that expertise about some of the like behind the scenes that those of us who are maybe newer in business or still kind of getting established, like things that we don't even know that we don't know. So I'm excited to talk to you today. Let's start with what personal branding is and maybe what it isn't.
I will start with what personal branding is for me. It's not hiding behind your logo. Personal branding is you as a persona operating your business as a real human being upfront. And personal branding is nothing new. It's becoming really fancy. And I know we all like fancy nowadays, right? For me, personal branding is something that is so much more sustainable than just operating and having a business. Personal branding for me personally should be something that is you, that you build, where you take the people on your journey that creates a ripple effect of impact. You are a thought leader, not only an expert, and your personal brand should allow you to pivot at any given time in your business. Let's say, Melissa, you sell cupcakes today, and because people love Melissa, and Melissa you have this incredible fan club and community of people that are like, this is my woman, like what she does, the way she thinks, the way she moves through life, the way she handles obstacles, and the way she makes cupcakes is just my kind of person. So it might be that Melissa you won't do cupcakes anymore in 2 years, but you go to wedding cakes. I'm sure one of those people in this community or fan club will either tell people that you're doing wedding cakes now, or we'll get married at some point and be like, thank God I know you.
Yeah.
Another cool example is Beyonce. Like I'm a forever fan of Beyonce. She has made R&B for years. And what is she doing now? Her brand new album is anything but R&B. And people still love her. People still go to the concerts because it's Beyonce. And the personal brand should allow you to do this over and over again as you develop as a human being.
Yeah. So it's really more about who you are than what you do.
Exactly. And I think you had an incredible cool episode just recently aired, the difference between marketing and sales and how to navigate that. I just I tuned in recently into that. And the truth is personal branding is marketing, is your visibility and marketing strategy. And yes, of course, we speak about our expertise on podcasts. We speak about it in our content on social media. We write about it in articles and we present webinars in front of already curated audiences. But the truth is that a sustainable brand is built on value, not only expertise. It's built on the message that matters to the world in the current state.
So if I'm listening to this and I think, okay, that sounds like a great idea. I understand what you're saying in theory, but I don't know what my personal brand is. Like, I know what my logo is. I know what my colors are. I know my website is really pretty. Where do I start when it comes to figuring out my own personal brand?
I love this question. This is something really cool. And I dare to say that everybody is or has a personal brand because the work we do, and especially in the transformation industry, and when we are running our passionate, intentional businesses, as we can do this right now and do really the work we want to be doing, this is not coming from the idea of, I woke up as an expert, I'm going to make bank. This idea usually comes to us from knowledge, experiences, and things we have already lived through, tackled, and now are ready to bring it to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say, Melissa, you are building communities. Why is it so important to you to put women into communities? Why can't we sit in our corner? Like, what has moved you to bring us together?
I mean, I think there's a lot of different things. One of them is my own experience, like in middle school in particular, being the girl that had to eat lunch in the bathroom every day because I didn't have friends and I didn't have anybody to sit with. And that was a terrible feeling. And so I've always really wanted to make sure that everyone feels like they have friends that they can sit with.
Mm-hmm.
And then that really translated into the business world where we're spending so much money and so much time on all of these things that we think that we need. And we're trying to do all of these things by ourselves. And none of that is sustainable without having support and community.
Mm-hmm. How does community sprinkle in your everyday life outside of business? Are you a community gatherer?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where all of my support system and, people who started out as people I met at networking events or referral partners or just like online acquaintances that have become like some of my best friends.
Mm-hmm. Tea over cupcakes?
Yeah.
As well. Yeah. Okay. So what I hear here is that you are creating belonging through community and create support systems for success. And this is your personal brand.
Yeah.
Whether it is business strategy, it doesn't matter. Can be anything. Can be if you put yourself out as the brand who creates belonging and wants everyone to have friends and succeed in their doing, then today you teach strategy and tomorrow you can support moms going through perimenopause.
Right.
Right. So this is the message you're bringing to the world, that we all belong, that we all need somebody. That's no matter who and what we are doing, that nobody has done it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. So is your personal brand more about your like mission and your values than it is like your personality and the things that you like and your hobbies? Like, is it more about, like, for me, for the example we're talking about, is it more about this like inclusivity and community and wanting a space for everyone and wanting to support female entrepreneurs than it is about how much I love Taylor Swift and Starbucks? Or is all of that part of the personal brand?
It is all part of it. The most important thing are the values and the foundation of values and the change we want to create in the world.
Yeah.
Then the second part is, of course, let the people in your life. And this is something where people are very, very scared of, because they say, oh my God, do I now need to share everything on social media? Do I need to tell everyone what I eat when I walk? When I had an argument with my husband? Do I need to tell that my kids didn't behave? No, none of that. Because there is also, if we then think further, and let's say you are creating community, and you create belonging through community, then there are parts in your life that are doing exactly the same thing in your private life. And it's easy to recreate because it's a value you are living up to every day in and out.
Mm-hmm. I love that. So when it comes to standing out in a saturated market, I think this is what I really want to talk about. And I know personal branding is a huge part of this, but how do the two tie together? Because I know I have a lot of conversations, and I'm sure you do too, with entrepreneurs and people who are newer in business that think like, everyone does what I do. There are 100 million people who are doing this, right? Everybody's a coach, everybody's a realtor, everybody's a photographer. And so, how does personal branding help people stand out in those markets, especially when they are not like the loudest, right? Or they're not like the most outrageous? How does like a normal person use personal branding to stand out?
There is two things I need to mention here. So personal branding is not new. As I already said, like personal brands exist throughout like hundreds of years. It's just like now that it's getting more and more important as as you say, everybody thinks that everyone is a coach. The reason why we think, as an example, the reason why we think as such is because if you are a coach, then all you do is to watch coaches doing business every single day. Before I started in this industry 5 years ago, I didn't know how many they are. And if you break it down in numbers, then it's probably a 0.0001 something of the whole population who are actually coaches and are visible online.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you see it everywhere, it doesn't mean everyone is a coach. Secondly, we have this opportunity now to reach buyers beyond borders through social media, through diverse platforms. And what is so great about this era, especially right now, is that you don't have to be the loudest, as you say, but we cannot play small anymore. It can't just be that you say, okay, I want to be a little bit visible and I want to do a little bit, because then I highly recommend staying in your local area and not bother being visible online and trying to sprinkle around a little bit, because it's either all or nothing. This is what saturated markets require. And this is maybe what we would say is the loud, right? You don't have to scream loud, but you have to be in places. If this is not someone's cup of tea and you don't want to make your millions, then really chill in your local area, because this is the best thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
However, if someone wants to go big and seize today's opportunities, we need to level up and get onto platforms that most of the people will fear, because podcasting, writing articles, speaking on stages, this is all the things that we women were not taught. Although we have the rights to do it, we were not taught how to seize them and not to feel like less off when we want it. So it's all or nothing. And the truth is, traditional PR, people on podcasts are looking for people like you listening right now. The celebrity era is over.
Mm-hmm.
They're bored with them. It's always the same, and be like fresh perspectives, new thinking, new faces, and new names. And not seizing that is actually a huge, huge loss. And just not taking this opportunity and getting over yourself and be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna learn the skill. I'm gonna put myself out there. It's a shame, and I see so much potential going to waste here.
Yeah, absolutely. Why do you think, I mean, we don't have to dive too far down the rabbit hole into like the patriarchy and all the things, but why do you think, especially with women in particular, they have this fear of putting themselves out there and this fear of being seen, and it's so hard for them to be that visible?
Well, it hasn't been too long ago that I think this year it has been 50 years since in the UK, women are allowed to open up their own bank account without their husband or even their son having to sign for them. So that's 50 years only. That's not a long time. And the truth is, having that right, like on white on paper, is a good thing, because a lot of women and a lot of men have been fighting for these rights. What we always miss out in our society, or what we delay with, is teaching the current people who are in this era how to seize those rights. And of course, we come with all our limiting beliefs, but the truth is, you're not alone with your limiting beliefs. Because then we work on our limiting beliefs, and you will start outgrowing every single person surrounding you, and you will go down the spiral even more, because then what we speaking about belonging, you suddenly belong to nobody, because your family doesn't understand. Your friends no longer understand. Your partner might not understand, has never been on your side. So if we don't look on the side of where is this actually coming from? And it comes from, yes, you put the rights upon us, but you don't teach us what to do. Then you blame us for doing so because then we are too loud, too big, too extraordinary. I don't know, wanting too much. And we often still think in our society that women need help, let's say, especially from men or their partners, in carrying mineral water up the staircase. Yes, it's a thing. I mean, it's cute, but I can do it. If I drink my wine, I carry it myself. If I drink my water, I carry it myself. I make my own money. So there is no longer that need of being codependent with someone. But what hasn't changed is that we still need the emotional support, and this is rising.
Yeah. And I feel like so much of what you're talking about goes back to what I was talking about in the beginning about why I think community is so important, right? And especially having a community of people who are going through the same thing as you, right? If like, I don't have any entrepreneurs in my family. My parents weren't entrepreneurs. My sister's not an entrepreneur. My husband's not an entrepreneur.
So great, Melissa.
And they can try their hardest to understand, but nobody understands the same way that somebody else who has gone through the same thing understands, right? Like something, huge that feels huge to me, even like in the beginning of business, when you get like a new client and that's like people cannot understand how huge that is, right? And to have a community of people who do understand and people that you can go to support you when it's hard, to tell you that you're not alone, to celebrate with you to the degree that you want them to celebrate with you. I think that it's helpful in continuing to move forward in your business, but I think it's also really helpful with this fear of being seen because you are able to put yourself out there knowing that you've got these other women behind you. You've got these people who have your back, and it makes it so much less scary, I think.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to ask you about is the idea of building trust with people, because this is something we talk about this a lot in networking, that know, like, and trust factor, right? People buy from people that they know, that they like, and that they trust. And we talked about personal branding, and I think personal branding does a lot for the know and like part, right? I mean, there's plenty of people. I feel like my personal brand has become very clear, especially just in the last year or so. And there's a lot of people who are really drawn to it. And there are a lot of people that are like, I don't like her. And that's great. But when it comes to trust, like, I feel like trust is the thing that takes people from like, I like her and I want to be around her and be in her space, to I want to give her my money. So how does personal branding relate to trust? Like, how do we build trust with people in a way that it feels true to us and to our personal brand?
As a personal brand, to be visible, you need to be on platforms and spaces where other people don't go, first of all. And if somebody is listening to a podcast episode of 30 minutes, an hour, and somebody has been sitting with you and listens to your words, to your story, to your experiences, this is a huge tract. Another thing is, as a personal brand, you will only build it if you are there and if you're there consistently. So, and it's also not about really what we say so much, but what we do. If you say you're going to do XYZ, you can be sure that people will remember, and you better show that you have done it. I mean, life comes always in between. There's always, parameters that don't allow us to follow up on the things we say, right? We would do. But in general, I never suggest sharing anything online or in any space where you are not just through it and it hasn't happened yet. Personal branding happens with a slight delay. Everything that is public. I share Instagram stories or Facebook stories if something is really relevant right now, but that disappears in 24 hours. And I like to, if I want to overshare something and let people more into take them into depth in a story, but everything that you share publicly has already happened. You have learned your lesson from it, and now you're teaching somebody else. So you have already set the direction, you have walked the path, and you have followed up on it. And this is so crucial. Like, I just announced recently that I'm going to run a half marathon. My community voted for yes, go for it. So if I don't run this half marathon, I also need to have the confidence to say why I didn't run it. It's not just not doing it and hope that nobody will find out.
Right. Yeah. The consistency, I think, is huge, especially in online business, because there's so many online businesses that are here today and gone next week, or, people that you see that today she sells essential oils and in 2 weeks she wants to sell your house. And 2 weeks later, she has a clothing boutique or something, And so I think that consistency is a huge thing that builds trust with audiences for sure. And the follow through, I think, I feel like it's very underrated. And I try to tell people a lot, like when it comes to networking, it's not just how you're showing up when you're meeting someone at a networking event, right? They want to see, are you the same person on LinkedIn as you were when I met you at this event, right? That consistency matters. And they also want to see, like, are you going to follow through on what you say you're going to do? So if I meet you and I say, oh my gosh, you've got to meet Susie. She does X, Y, and Z, and I think you guys would love each other. I will introduce you, right? We all give each other grace and we're all human. And if you're anything like me, you've got emails and DMs and texts and things coming from like 90 different directions. So things get lost, and I get that. But if I'm consistently not following through on what I've said I'm going to do for you, that you're going to remember that, right? And that's not going to make you want to hire me. It's not going to make you want to refer people to me. It's not going to make you want to collaborate with me on a project. And so I think the consistency and also like the dependability, the follow through, I think are huge when it comes to trust.
Absolutely. And I'm always at ease when I send an email with a question and I get an email back in a timely manner. And I know, and I just know, okay, this is going smooth. Great. And you double down on that. And where else, if I have to wait for someone for a response for 3 weeks, I'll be like, you know what, we might not come together because maybe collaborations or clients or whoever is reaching out to you who seeks help or connection. I agree on that as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We forget that we are still human beings. The conversation needs to happen. And if you are building a brand, or what I say right now, a social media presence and your digital business card, it seems the conversation is one way, but it's not, because you have more consumers on the other side as producers. It's just that they not always tell us that are consuming our content, but it's never a one-way street.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good reminder. Okay, so before we wrap up, if people want to learn more about personal branding, if they are interested in finding other ways for them to stand out in, I think we all think we're in a crowded market. So no matter what market you're in, or they just want to connect with you and know more about what you do, what are the best ways for them to find you?
So you find me on Instagram, Ivana Ivanek _ or on LinkedIn under Ivana Ivanek. This is where I share daily stuff. You can also go on my website, ivanaivanek.com, where you can learn directly about my work. And if you found me at this show, there is a direct button where you can hop on a call with me if you desire to wish more about the modules and the work I'm doing. And tune into my podcast. Online Business by Design podcast is a marketing and mindset podcast where you definitely get to learn about me, but I also have incredible guests who are all about intentional businesses, cool businesses, like all the fancy, what people call fancy, crazy stuff, but what is so possible for you right now. And I desire for everyone to get this chance to at least try and to see what's out there for them.
Yeah, I love that. I will put the links for all of that in the show notes. And do you know when the half marathon is going to be?
I didn't sign up yet because I couldn't decide which one.
Okay.
There are so many, and I need like at least 5 months training. Like the Barcelona half marathon is too early. I won't make that just because of the training time. So it's going to be somewhere April, May. I might even go to my home city, Vienna. But no promises here. There's something's going to happen, and I need to make this decision somewhere now. But I just moved to a new city. So I am all about, as you say, networking, in here for business opportunities, speaking opportunities, navigating things like finding a supermarket.
Yeah, priorities.
So,
all right. Well, we're all going to be on Instagram waiting to see this half marathon and cheering you on.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was a great conversation.
Thank you so much. It has been my privilege.
That's a wrap on this week's episode of Powerful Women Rising. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you love the podcast, make sure to subscribe, share it with a friend, write a review, or buy us a coffee. Your support helps more women like you step into their power and grow their businesses in a way that feels real and true to them. Want to keep the party going? Check out the show notes for details on our next virtual speed networking event, or join us in the Powerful Women Rising community. Until next time, remember that building a business your way is the best way.